Muhammad chuck on 30s, got me flying with the birdies. I'ma chuck on 30s, got me flying with the birdies. Muhammad chuck on 30s, got me flying with the birdies. I'ma chuck on 30s, I'ma chuck on 30s.
Yo, if you trap, boom, then got it on slam dunk. Swag to the sky, then got it on slam dunk. Ride so high, you got it on slam dunk. What you call this right here? It's a slam dunk. If you trap, boom, then got it on slam dunk. Swag to the sky, then got it on slam dunk. Ride so high, you got it on slam dunk. What you call this right here? I'm jamming out like jelly, ain't nothing.
We are Takoma Academy.
Yeah, my name is Juan J. Hill, I like to be referred as. I'm the head basketball coach at Takoma Academy. I started coaching high school basketball about 13, 14 years ago. And just to tell you a story, I started out coaching when I was young. I used to coach CYO, coach my little brother, and some of the guys like Johnny Dawkins, who's now the head coach at Stanford. Helped coach him when he first started out. My brother played at Gonzaga with John Thompson III in high school. And all those guys ended up playing high school basketball. It was something I always loved to do. And so when I got out of college, I got hurt at Virginia State University. Basketball was over for me. And I went into the real world, started working, but I was never happy. And I decided to get back into college coaching. So what happened was I stopped by an activity, the CYO school I used to coach at. And it just so happened they had lost the basketball coach the day before that. And that's when I started coaching. And then I decided I'm pretty good at it. I like kids. I know basketball. Try the high school life. And one of the schools that I always admired, I actually graduated from Archbishop Carroll. And I thought about transferring to Gonzaga. It didn't quite work out. My younger brother went there. And I always liked the way Coach Myers got the most out of his players. So I ended up going down there working summer camp. And I started out, I always tell people, I started out the 13th man on a 12-man staff. I was assistant coach on freshmen. The next year, I moved up to the head freshman coach. And I was the guy who just stayed in the gyms. I got to know all the young kids. I started working camps. I coached the freshman team for 5 years. The last 2 years, I was freshman coach and a varsity coach with Coach Myers. I was fortunate enough, Coach Myers was the all-time winningest coach in the D.C. area, one of the top coaches in the country, retired 6 years ago after 28 years, 700 plus victories. And to help him win his first city championship, I was on that varsity staff. It was a big achievement for me. Learned a lot from him. I appreciate the opportunity. Coached JV in varsity 1 year, and then when Coach Myers retired, Steve Turner, who was there with me the whole time, became the head coach, and I became the top assistant. And we had to pretty much start over and rebuild the program. And we were determined to keep it going, and first couple years, we got everything in place. It was a little rough. There was a lot of doubt whether we could rebuild the program, but the next year we went to the playoffs, won 20-plus games. The following year we had the best record in school history, 34-1, one of the top teams in the country, top team, number one team in the area. And it was, I tell people, blood, sweat, and tears. A lot of hard work went to get us there. But I enjoyed watching young men grow up, go on, play college basketball. And we kept it going the next 2 or 3 years. We're nationally ranked. Went to the championship, one of the top teams in the area, and we could keep it going. And during this time, I was the guy who stayed in the gym, so I started doing, I did the skill work for our guys at Gonzaga, taking over for a guy named Bill Whitaker who had left. I started doing all the skill work, and we had guys going to Division I. Every year, we had at least one All-Met, sometimes two. This past year, we had Cedric Lindsey, who's playing at Richmond, and Tyler Thornton, who's playing at Duke. They were all met. The year before that, we had the Player of the Year in the league, Ian Hummer, who had his choice of going anywhere and decided to go to Princeton, where his father had played with Bill Bradley. His uncle played there, and his brother was going there then at the same time. So he ended up going to Princeton, but he could have went anywhere he wanted. The year before that, another kid who I actually found playing when I was running the 5-star camps in the area, Max Kenyon, who became Player of the Year, first team All-Met. He also had his choice of schools, but chose Harvard. Like I told him, I don't want to stop anybody's NBA dream, but if you can go to Harvard, play a game that you love to play, and get that education, if by some chance, by some miracle you don't make the NBA, I know you're going to be all right. So glad to see him go to Harvard. We had Cam Johnson, another great player, who actually could have went anywhere in basketball, is now playing football for University of Virginia. I expect to see him playing on Sundays. And we've had a lot of success stories like that. So started doing personal training. I got guys pretty much at every team in the league. Last few years, Ricardo Gaddy was a kid who I started working out, didn't get in Gonzaga. Ended up going to good counsel, having a pretty good career, being first team all WCAC, is playing now at William Jesuit. James Robinson, a kid who would have loved for him to come to Gonzaga. He decided to go to the Math. I love him just the same. Wish him nothing but the best. Again, it's about the kids, and I was just happy to see him grow as a player. And there was just some, again, I've had kids on pretty much every team in the league. So after the last couple of years of being a national ranked team, one of our coaches came to me and said he was talking with the school, Takoma Academy, that he actually went to before he transferred to Gonzaga, Keith Beckett. And he said they're interested in taking their program to another level. They're serious about it. I can't do it. Maybe you want to talk to him. I said, I don't mind talking to him. And I talked to the athletic director, Carl Parker, and I liked what he had to say about the commitment. They had a great facility. I came over. The facility is called the John Lawrence Gym. Lawrence was a guy who was the principal here for a whole lot of years. I don't know how many, 25, 30 years, but he also was a guy who loved basketball. One of his best friends actually was Morgan Wooten. And I know Morgan used to famous coach from the Math that everybody knows, Hall of Fame coach. He actually ran his basketball camps here at this school. So I know they had a great facility. They used to also play big-time WCAC games here. So came over here, checked out the facility. They were going to redo the floor, which they have done it, and it's a college floor. So that's the first thing. They have an upper deck, great facility. And I sat down and talked to the principal. The principal had been here, this is his second year here, David Daniels, and he convinced me that he was serious about taking the basketball program to a different level. Like I told him, I was happy at Gonzaga, worked hard to get that program on a national level, just came back from Hawaii the year before, Hall of Fame game, we taking 3 and 4 plane trips a year, so I was happy. But the chance to run my own program, to do the same thing that we were able to do here, appealed to me. And like I told them, if they're serious about it, if they're committed, then I was the man, and they convinced me they were. And I started here in the spring. This past summer, we played in a summer league out at Montgomery County. The competition wasn't the toughest competition that I was used to, being, again, from one of the top leagues in the country, WCAC. And we won the summer league we were in last year. And I told the guys, that's what we would expect to do. The bar is set high, and I'm not lowering the bar. Summer league, the bar is going to be set high, we're not lowering it. I know it's going to take a couple years for us to get there, but fortunately, because I've been in the game 14 years, and because I know all the kids, I was able to get a couple of kids in right off the bat who I've known since they were 7, 8, or 9. I got Desmond Stanback, who's a tremendous player. Knew his brother who played at O'Connell, had some battles with him back in the day. That's my first coaching of Gonzaga. And he came here, he's a junior. We also have Miles Jackson, who was a starter last year for Springbrook State Championship team, who I used to work out, who's a personal training with, actually played on one of my AAU teams. And when my first day here in the fall, I sat down with all the kids in the program and I explained to them that I love basketball, I love to win, but I don't guarantee wins. I guarantee we're going to do things the right way. We're going to represent the school, their family, God, and not in that order, God first, the school, family, and the team a certain way. Coming from Gonzaga, we had our teams were always probably the top team as far as GPA in the school. We had the valedictorian a couple years. We always had guys who had a lot of AP classes. Again, we have 2 players who played a year at the WCAC, one's at Harvard, one's at Princeton. So there's a certain standard that I expect. I also expect them to carry themselves as young men. Even when I used to do camp, I told the kids, if you didn't say yes, yes sir, or yes coach, I didn't do yeah, nah, they had to do 10 push-ups, and kids they'd catch somebody saying, yeah, coach said, yeah, you got to do 10 push-ups. So there's a certain standard. And the other day we actually had a scrimmage, and the referee came and said, you know what, Juan, I talked to the guys in the locker room, they all said, yes, sir, they looked at me in the eye, they shook my hand. So that's what we teach. We try to teach them to go from being young kids to young men to men. And that's something that I'm carrying from what we did at Gonzaga, what I've been doing for the last 13 to 14 years is a high priority here. When I first got here, I established a study hall every day. From 4 to 6, the guys have to come in. And study hall, I had a couple kids saying, Coach, I don't have anything to study. But I've had kids who had 4 AP classes, 3 honor classes, had a 4.3 average. If they can study every day, then I'm not saying you're not a great student, but you certainly can study. So slowly but surely everybody got on board, and we pulled everybody's grades, sat down with everybody and went over them. Because again, basketball is an extracurricular activity. They're here to get their education, and if you can go to college and get it paid for, that's just a blessing. And part of the thing that really appealed to me about coming here and being able to put the program together is being able to do other events here. And one of the first events we decided to do in partnership with Northern Basketball and do a summer league here, which we're very excited about. We hope to make it one of the best summer leagues in the area. And also, Northern Basketball is going to sponsor a game here. We have 2 great teams playing. Blue Ridge is playing Princeton Day, and then we're going to play Montrose Christian. It's a wonderful opportunity, and Northern Basketball appealed to me for a couple of reasons. Number one, the guy who runs it, Arizi, I had some experience with him in doing the AAU tournaments and always did a great job. But in coaching basketball, I get a chance to help these young men with their lives and teach. It's always a teaching moment for me. I actually have a foundation called Stop, Start, and Save, which I've been working on for 4 or 5 years. We're just up and running. Actually, the first game we played with Gonzaga was a fundraiser for that. But in helping these guys, we're going to reach out to help 6th, 7th, 8th grade kids in the DC area, because basketball is a great thing, but at the end of the day, it's about life. It's about being able to achieve something, trying to get these guys to realize no matter what you want to do in life, you have to put the work in, but you need some people there to help you also. So more than basketball is reaching out helping people, so it's a great collaboration. And we're going to have that doubleheader here. It's February the 20th. It's on a Sunday. Our JV is going to play Montrose Christian, and again, Blue Ridge and Princeton Day, 2 great programs playing each other. We're going to follow up with us and Montrose Christian playing, and I look forward to it. Our guys are really excited about it.